Bill O'Reilly's interview with the president continues to generate controversy. Today, 3 U.S. senators sent a scathing letter to the president, demanding accountability on the Benghazi terror attack and the shifting explanations for why it happened. Senators Ayotte, McCain, and Graham challenging this claim by the president about security.
In the aftermath, what became clear was that the security was lax.
But that contradicts what then UN Ambassador Susan Rice said just days after the terror attack.
Well, we obviously did have a strong security presence.
So which was it? Security was strong or it was lax? The senators also taking issue with this claim.
The notion that we would hide the ball for political purposes when a week later we all said, in fact, there was a terrorist attack taking place, that wouldn't be a very good cover-up.
The lawmakers point out, however, that the president was not calling this a terrorist attack a week later. In fact, on The View, 2 weeks later, he specifically declined to go that far.
I heard Hillary Clinton say that it was an act of terrorism. Is it?
We're still doing an investigation. We don't have all the information yet.
Finally, the senators demand accountability for the president's promise made in the Rose Garden 1 day after the Benghazi attack.
Make no mistake, justice will be done.
And yet the senators write, in almost 17 months, none of the terrorists have been brought to justice. Joining me now, Democratic Representative Adam Schiff, ranking member on the House Intel Committee. Sir, it's good to see you here. And so let's start with that first one about security, that the president tells our own Bill O'Reilly the security was lax. And these senators want an answer for why then Susan Rice told the world on the Sunday shows 5 days later that we obviously had a strong security presence.
Well, look, I think the president, Secretary Clinton, and Ambassador Rice will all acknowledge and have acknowledged that the security was insufficient. By definition, when you have an attack that claims the lives of Americans serving overseas, there was a problem with security. I don't think you could take that small snippet of the ambassador's remarks and conflate it to mean that she thought that the security was ample to protect the consulate. Plainly, it wasn't. What I find, very significant about
strong but not ample. Is that what you say her message was?
No, what her message was in those immediate days after the attack was based on the intelligence assessment that we had at the time, that there was a demonstration that proved not to be the case. But as the Senate report has confirmed, what the Accountability Review Board found is that none of this was done for the purposes of political spin. So I think you could take isolated snippets from the report, as my Senate colleagues have, and try to conflate it into some inconsistency. But the consistency is that all of the reviews have found that there was no politicization of the intelligence.
And what about the president's, what they claim is his revisionist history on whether he called this a terrorist attack? This wound up being a major issue in the presidential campaign as well. And he told Bill O'Reilly that he was calling it a terrorist attack a week after it happened. And then you just heard him. I played you that View sound 2 weeks later, refusing to go that far.
Well, of course, Megyn, though, as you remember from the campaign, the president referred to it as a terror attack the day after it took place.
No, he did not. He called it an act of terror. That is not synonymous.
Well, an act of terror is not a terror attack. That sounds like the same thing to me.
Then why didn't he tell Joy Behar? Of course, Joy, I've already said that. I said the day after it was an act of terror, which of course is synonymous with a terrorist attack. He didn't say that.
Well, he did say that we won't succumb to these acts of terror. That pretty much says to me that he was referring to it as a terrorist attack.
Okay, if that's true, then why didn't he just continue embracing that term?
All of us, I think, recognize you shoot RPGs at an American consulate anywhere in the world, it's an act of terror by definition. What the president was saying, I think, in that second interview.
Listen, I'm doing you a favor because my viewers want an answer to this, and they're not satisfied because I get the emails. They're not satisfied. So I'm giving you, as a Democrat and a defender of the president, the opportunity to convince them.
Let me finish.
I'm going to let you finish, but I don't like dodging away from the question. I want to keep you on point. If you think of an act of terror is synonymous in the president's mind with terrorist attack, then why 2 weeks later did the president decline to go that far when Joy Behar asked him, was this a terrorist attack?
Megan, honestly, I think it's a little bit ridiculous to say that someone who refers to an act of terror is not talking about a terrorist attack. That is really quibbling over terminology.
Then why didn't he say it?
Megan, let me finish. He did say it. He said it the very next day. And in the interview that you have now subsequently quoted, where you gave just a little snippet of the president's comments, he was saying that he didn't want to get into all the details during the pendency of the investigation. He wasn't saying this wasn't a terrorist attack. And to claim that abbreviated sentence that you're relying on means something different, I think, is just misleading.
But she's just asking, was it a terrorist attack? You're telling me, according to you, no, I gave you the chance to answer, but she was just asking him, was it a terrorist attack? You're telling me, he according to you, he should have said, yes, as I already said, it's a day after it was a terrorist attack. But I don't want to get into all the details.
We've already had one presidential election over this, and that argument failed.
This
the American people, I think, quite recognize that the president
it didn't necessarily fail because of Benghazi, but the viewers still want answers to this. These three senators want answers to this. I know many people think these are not legitimate questions, but others do.
With all due respect to the insatiable interest in this on Fox News and with my three Senate colleagues, we have just received yet another report, this time a bipartisan report from the Senate Intelligence Committee saying there was no cover-up, there was no politicization.
These are the people on that committee.
When will you take no for an answer? When will you take there's nothing there for an answer?
With the senators, sir. I'm not the one who wrote this letter. These are the senators on this committee who are upset about this.
Well, but if you look at the actual work product of the committee, they don't agree with the thrust of that letter. The work product of the committee debunks for the umpteenth time this conspiracy theory, which, frankly, is very hard to understand just to begin with.
There's no conspiracy theory. They're just unanswered questions.
Megan, you would have to believe that General Petraeus was lying, that Director Morell was lying, that the Director of National Intelligence Clapper was lying, and they were all lying.
I'm not asking about any conspiracy theory.
Because they all wanted jobs in a future Hillary Clinton administration.
No.
It's a preposterous theory, honestly.
I am not asking you. I mean, I know that there are some on the internet who believe in conspiracy theory. I'm not asking you about that. I'm just asking you about unanswered questions and inconsistencies in the president's remarks and his own inconsistent statements about what he has said and what he hasn't. I know my viewers have serious questions about this. I know you say that it's a non-story. 4 Americans are dead, sir. 4 Americans are dead, and there are a lot of unanswered questions.
That doesn't make this an unimportant issue. It's a very important issue. The only part, frankly, of the letter that I agree with is we ought to keep our focus on where are we in the hunt for bringing these people to justice.
Yeah.
I've been saying all along, frankly, that the Benghazi conspiracy theories are a terrible distraction to the work that we need to be doing to bring these people to justice, and that is an absolutely legitimate question. But I'd rather we keep our focus on that than continue to rehash these theories that have been debunked time and time again.
Thanks for being here.
You bet. My pleasure.